Hey, welcome back to my channel. So last we left off, we were prepping the Fast and Furious Brian's Eclipse. And so I'm just going to sand her up a little bit and, get her ready for some primer. I am going to be using Wicked Colors. It's the silver. This is a good primer. If it's used for regular surface painting, but also you can use it as an undercoat for metallic colors or candies, stuff like that. It makes the paint look a little bit brighter than having that dull gray underneath. And also with this, you have to thin it with the 412 reducer. Okay, it is an acrylic, so you don't have to worry about using thinners, for like lacquers and stuff like that. Also, I had gotten the actual Eclipse Mitsubishi color from one of the guys online, but this is a lacquer paint. It's good. I like it. But I'm not really set up for using lacquers right now, so I'm going to use Wicked Colors again. This is the Pearl Lime Green. I'll be using that instead of the lacquer. So it's just putting this together. Now with this particular color, we're using the Balancing Clear. That's the 430 Balancing Clear, and also the UVS Clear, which is a gloss. It gives a little bit more of a glossy sheen, and that's what I'm going to put in. I'll mix these two with that and a little bit of the 411 reducer. Okay, so these three have to go in with the paint to give it that like glossy finish that I want. Yeah, and the colors are pretty close. I mean, this one's a little bit more shinier than this one. This one's this one you'd have to do some gloss coats over it, at the end, which is not a problem. I can do that as well. But I'm really liking Wicked Colors paints. They have a really good brand, and they have a good line. They'll have all their nice candy colors. I'm also going to be using, if you remember the last episode, I was talking about the Galleria Advanced GHD. This one here is brand spanking new, and I'm loving it. So we're going to give that a shot. I'm going to try it out and see how it works. I will be filming over in my spray booth. I have my GoPro HD set up over there, and we'll come back and I'll show you what I've done so far. Okay. All right. Be right back. back from the spray booth, and as you can see, I did a couple coats of the silver onto the body. What I want to do now is I want to pay attention and focus my attention on the little imperfections that the primer brings out, which is good when you do the primer. And it came out pretty good. There's a couple little spots here and there that I want to clean up. The glue marks from putting the scoop on the roof is a little bit like puddly there, right there. So if you can see it, so the focus. But yeah, I'm trying to adjust these lights a little bit for you guys. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have my sandpapers laid out. I have a 2000, a 4000, and a 12,000. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to start sanding up the body. I'm going to wet sand it, so I'm going to dip it in some water. And I'm just going to lightly, I don't want to go get down to the plastic again. So I'm going to lightly just sand these areas that are causing a little bit of an issue for me. I don't want this to show up on the nice paint job, so I'm just going to kind of get in there and sand out some of those spots. Okay, if it does go down to the plastic a little bit, don't worry about it. We just want to get those seams out of there so they don't show up when we do the top coat. Okay, take a little napkin. Wipe that away. Give it a little feel. Okay, yeah, much better. Okay, so you'll see there's some white spots there, but it'll be covered up when we spray the body again. So if you guys enjoyed that spray time there in the booth, I was using that new Galleria. Really good brush. I enjoyed using it. I think I won't use it for priming though. It's a little more technical. I mean, not technical, but more refined. So I think I'm going to use it for more detailing. And I'll use my Hobby Neo or something like that for the brushing on the airbrushing on the primer. Okay, so I'm just gonna give a little wipe. All right, so with the 2000's a little bit coarser, so I'm just getting those spots that might cause me a little issue. Just want to make sure I get it all. Back looks really good. Don't really need to work a little bit on this corner here. Corner panel on the bumper. That's about it. Give it another wipe. Okay, let's see what it looks like on the front fender. A little bit right around where the headlights are. So we'll get that too. That's good. So I've been thinking about the chassis again, and okay, so I was saying that I'm thinking I'm going to change the platform back to Luke's Make It Right or Make It RC platform. I think it's just a better choice because I like to actually, let me show you. This is one of their chassis plates, and it fits pretty nicely right over the bottom of the pan that goes into the car. So I'm going to mount that in, and I'm going to have to do some hacking. I'll have to hack away here for the servo, and then back in here for the motor box. Besides that, it looks like it's going to be a pretty decent fit. And if you look back here, I have plenty of room to mount the front steering and the rear motor. And over here, I've been just kind of working on putting some finishing touches on the body. So I'm using the 2000 grit sandpaper and just wet sanding some of these imperfections. Okay, then I'm just going to wipe her down. And looks good. Just a little bit right here. This looks like a little bit of puddling going on over here. So I'm just going to sand that out a little bit more with the 2000 grit sandpaper. That looks better. Okay, so now we'll switch to the 4000 grit. We'll just give a quick swipe over that. Kind of just do the whole body with that. Okay. Give it a quick wipe. And then I'm going to switch to the 12,000 grit. Wet her up a little bit. And I'm just using plain water. I'm not using any detergents or anything. I don't like to use any of that because I'm afraid it's going to affect the paint job. So I just use plain water. And just go over the body again with the 12,000 grit. Okay. Give her a nice wipe down. And I think, folks, that we are ready for another back in the paint booth session. Got all those imperfections out. Shined back up with the 12,000. And that's that. So it looks pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and spray that out now with the primary color. And also I sprayed the spoiler, and I kind of like the silver. I think I'm going to stick with it. I'll just give it a nice shot of clear coat. And there was a little bit of a seam line in there. I sanded it out mostly. Not really a big deal. I'm not really too worried about that. It looks pretty good. There is another seam line under here that I might want to address. So I might sand that out. and fix that up a little bit. Okay, and then on the hood I sprayed, even though we're going to put a decal on it. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to use a little 12,000 sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand that up a little bit. Clean it. Okay. So now let's have a little bit of fun. I am going to put the hood decal on because they really don't need to do much after that. I'm going to paint this black underneath. I also took a Maltol pen and did silver around the edges of the hood. So I have my nice nifty decal pad over here that I'm going to use to lay the decals out on. So what I do is I dip it in the water, put the decal in the water, and then lay it on the sponge. Give it a little longer soak. Lay it down on the sponge. Okay, still a little bit tight on there, so I'm going to give a little more soak. I'll lay it on the sponge. And also we have the other graphic that goes on top of the carbon fiber. So that I'm going to put in there. We'll soak that. And that looks good. Okay. So now what I'll do is have my little 3D printed micro set and micro sole holder, and it holds my micro set and my micro sole. It also holds some of my cotton swabs. Okay, so now we'll take a little bit of micro set and a brush. Use a nice soft brush. Put a little micro set on there. Let's see. Oh yeah. We'll put the carbon fiber down onto the hood, or as you guys across the pond say, the bonnet. And I kind of like that term, the bonnet. The rear of the car is called the boot. We call it the trunk. Okay, so now we got that on there. I took my my X-Acto with a nice fresh new blade, and I'm going to, okay, so sorry the video cut out, but what I was trying to say was I was using an X-Acto knife with a new blade, and what I did was I cut out the scoop on the hood, the air intake over here, and so it came out really good, if you can see, but Bring some light up on that. It came out pretty good, and there's a little bit of cracking over in here, just a little bit where I cut the decal so I could drop it down to open up the vent. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of gloss black in that. It's kind of, it'll look like it's kind of a little dirty from exhaust or whatever. So that'll actually look pretty cool. All the wrinkles came out. I used the micro soft, the micro set, and that'll sit nicely right into the hood there. And that's what it looks like on the car. And yeah, so that's that. So we got the decal on, and we got the body done. So we're going to focus our attention on the front bumper a little bit here. And what I want to do with that is I want to mask off these grills in here, where I guess the air intake comes in. And also this is going to be black. And with I'm going to brush it, dry brush it with some silver. Same thing here. These will be black, little dry brush. But I'm going to be spraying this with the body color, so I want to put some masking in there. So for that, I'm going to use some Tamiya 1/4-inch tape, and I'm just going to cut up some of that. I have my glass cutter. It's one of those cutting mats, but it's glass. So what I want to do is it's great for cutting masking tape. So I'm going to take a little tape, put it on the glass, and kind of just cut out a little piece like so. And then I'm going to just stick it right in there and try to cover up that little bit in there. Okay, so it's going to be sticking out a little bit on the edges, so I just push it down with the knife like so. Go all the way around. And it's very important not to scratch anything in there. And then I'll just really lightly just cut just a little bit out. Oop, popped back out again. And that's that. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll have to work on this a little bit, get it in there nice and flat. We don't want any paint leaking underneath it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. So I'm going to continue to work a little bit more on the car, and I'm going to start building up the chassis and mount that to the floor pan. And I'll be back soon with part 4, where we'll be painting the body and putting the chassis together and doing some more detail work. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you real soon. God bless.